Hello class, good morning. So for today, I'm going to provide the solution and answers to the questions in our midterm exam. So as you could remember, these are the 4 questions for the problem solving. Okay, so din nato to answer itong multiple choice. Na-answer naman nato to before sa lecture. So kanina lang mga problem solving. So this is question number 1, question number 2, question number 3, and question number 4. Start out as question number 1. So given this circuit, let Vs be 4 volts. R1, R2, and R4 are all 1K. And R3 is 500 ohms. And our diode is silicon, so 0.7 ang voltage drop. Solve for the power dissipated by the silicon diode. So, mga na siya ang required. And this is the formula for it. Power dissipated by the diode is equal to power is current times voltage, right? So VD times ID. Lang. Even maning VD, this is 0.7. So ID na lang. So how will we find ID? It's this current right here. That's ID. Probably mag-KCL ta at this junction. I-subtract na itong kaninga current with that current to get ID. And yeah, I guess that's it. Easy peasy. So naman tayo given a resistance for R4. Kuha na natin dito ang current actually dire. Balita mo ni. Given man ang resistance R4, given man ang voltage drop here, which is 0.7. So kuha na to actually ng let's say this is I4. No? So later lang na. Balita na siya. Maybe ang challenge first is to get the individual voltage and currents sa other components. So that na ito magsugod. I think there are 2 easy ways to solve this one. We could use nodal analysis or source transformation. Kung source transformation, for me, masayin dito yung source transformation. Pero taas kayo ang solution nato. Although again, sayin siya. But mas short get ang solution for nodal analysis. So we'll just obtain this voltage right here, VA. And makuha na dahil natutanan currents sa all the other parts of the circuit. No? Lang. So let's solve for VA. Nodal ta at that junction. So VA minus 4 volts. Ano lang sa general. So VA minus VS over VA minus VS over R1 plus VA over R2 plus VA minus, let's say this is VB. Okay, but VB is equal to VD man. Now VB is the voltage drop across the silicon diode. Lang natin na siya. VB na lang sa over R3 equal to 0. Yeah. So itong i-emphasize ni, this one would be the current R1. This one would be the current R2. This one would be the current R3. So kung solve na ito ng VA, this is just one equation on unknown. Makuha na ito dito yung mga current. No? So I3, I2, I1. Let's say this is I4. So substitute the values. Only VA is unknown. VA minus 4 over 1K. That's VA over player 2, 500. 1K gapon. So 1K. That's VA minus VB is again 0.7. The voltage across the diode. So 0.7 over 500. Yeah, 500 to 0. Solving for VA, we'll get a value of 1.35 volts. So VA is 1.35 volts. So out of this one, you'll be able to obtain current I1, current I2, and current I3. So si I1 ang red, si I2 ang green, si I3 ang purple. So I1 is equal to VA minus VS over R1. So 1.35 minus 4 over 1,000. Ignore the negative symbol because kamay lang ako side comment. Kung mag-modal manguda, yung assumption is ang direction sa current is that way. Meaning if ang assumed direction is that way and obtain nato is negative, meaning negative of that way is the red arrow. So just ignore the negative sign for this one. So 1.35 minus 4 over 1K is 2.65 milliamperes. So kung negative dito, negative 2.65 in that direction. So negative in that direction. So positive siya, positive in that direction, which will coincide with our red arrow. So 2.65 milliamperes. Next, VA over R2 for I2. For I2 is VA over R2. 2 is equal to 1.35 milliamperes. For I3, VA minus BB over R3. So 1.35, BB is 0.7. Notice nga wala siya dili siya mag-negative, di ba? I-collect mo na itong assumption sa direction. So I3 is equal to 1.3 milliamperes. For which mo coincide na siya actually, di ba? If i-subtract na to ang I1 and I2, no? I1 minus I2 is equal to I3. 2.65 minus 1.35 is 1.3. So you could have to possible solutions for I3 actually. Pwede ta KCL or pwede ta kaning Ohm's law lang. So another I1, I2, I3. Okay, ano siya significance actually? Of course, we need to get I3 to get ID. No? So how about I4? How do you solve for I4? Ohm's law naman to. I4 is equal to R4 divided by V4 divided by R4, and V4 is 0.7. No? So V4 over R4, which is VD. R4, V4 and VD is parallel man. No? Parallel man si R4 and si VD. So parallel sila voltage. And if ang voltage ni VD is 0.7, 0.7 would see V4 over 1000. Therefore, I4 is equal to 0.7. 0.7 milliamperes. So if KCL ta here, no? That junction, KCL ta diha, that would be tanan pasulod is si I3 lang, pagawa si ID o si I4. So KCL is I3 equal to ID plus I4. So given naman ito nan, I3 is 1.3, I4 is 0.7. So 1.3 minus 0.7 is 0.6. Therefore, ID is 0.6 amperes. And muna na siya ito i-multiply sa atong pinaka-primero formula to get the power dissipated. So PD is equal to ID times BD, 0.6 milliamperes times 0.7 volts is how much? Watts, 0.6 times 7. 0.6 times 0.7. 0.42 milliamperes. Milliwatts. So that's the final answer. 0.42 milliwatts. Final. 420 microwatts, no? That's it. Question number 1. So ako lang i-upload for your reference. I might upload the PDF file for the answer key sa itong midterm exam. How about question number 2? For each circuit, the input is on the left and the output is on the right. Sketch the output waveform, and the input signal is 100 hertz, 10 volts peak sine wave. Specify appropriate time scale and voltage level. So before na to i-answer, kung sa i-draw ang input signal, if nag-draw mo o input signal daan, that would be good. If yun na lang i-imagine ng input, then dito mo answer sa output, okay na siya, wala problema. Itong signal is a sine wave. 10 volts peak. So here is 10 volts. So meaning negative 10 volts is sa silong. Of course, but we all know that. Supposed to be, naanta ang time scale, no? but I could not remember if ako ba ning na-introduce sa inyo. So if wala nyo nabutang ang time scale, okay lang, may problema. So how is it done man to get the time, no? Sa x-axis. So given ng frequency is 100 Hertz. Actually, to get the time scale, or more specifically, it's called a period. No? We just divide the 1 and the frequency. So 1 divided by 100 actually. So 1 over 100. Meaning 1 period of a sine wave is equal to 10 milliseconds. So 10 milliseconds. Again, 1 divided by 100. Okay, 10 milliseconds. So supposed to be, if dungagan na to og time scale, this is the 10 milliseconds, and this is the 5 milliseconds. So if wala nyo na answer, sige lang, no? Wala problema. Voltage level lang siguro. Okay, given man yun, I mean, hindi na ito na ma-mention before ang peak voltage sa itong signal. So actually, sa tanan siguro nga question sa atong midterm, most simple, because it's just a matter of locating the circuit sa slides. No? So if mo input, and this is the circuit, no? Circuit A, what is this? A clipper. So a very simple clipper circuit. So asagay siya actually sa atong slide. Kani man siguro to. No, dili mo. Yeah, I think kani, no? Anon dahil sa taas ng resistor sa load. Alagay kani, oh. Yan siya, di ba? It's this one. Ang resistor ang load, then ang diode ang series sa source. So sunod na ni, no? So ang atong answer ani is just pwede mo maging ani, pwede na po dili, no? May kaso very simple. Ito voltage. So 10 volts. Ideal man ang diodes. Alright, yan na lang. Kung butang time scale, 5 milliseconds, 10 milliseconds. What for circuit B? I think clamper ni siya, no? Na may capacitor. So again, just a matter of locating. Asa na siya dapit diri sa atong summary nga table. So naka-series sa source is ang capacitor. Ang load is ang diode. It's the very simple, the very first actually gani circuit sa clamper na to. No? So as you could remember, ang clamper is just a shifting of the signal either upwards or downwards. So kani, if mo na itong zero origin na here, dinaog siya. No? Ano siya dire? Instead of here, i-shift siya downward. Ang atong, so virtually, dili na nagsugod ang atong zero. Ano lang, no? So kopyahon lang siya. So ang answer ani, nag-shift kuno downwards ang ang signal na to. So instead of here ang 0, virtually na siya dire. No? So itong signal is no? Na-clamp siya downwards. Voltage. 0 volts of course, di sa taas. So 10 man siya. 10 volts peak, meaning negative 10 na iyang origin and negative 20 ang lowest peak. So this is negative 20 volts. No? Very simple. Last. Clipper gyapon eh. No? Clipper circuit, may capacitor. I think it's this one. So, pinakasilong. No? So double siya nga clipper. Na siya i-clip sa positive half cycle. Ako siya i-clip sa negative half cycle. Kung pila ang given, dito niya itaman i-clip. Same sa negative half cycle. Dito niya itaman i-clip. No? Sunod na to. Okay, sunod lang yapon. So 3 volts or 5 volts. Yeah. So if mo ning original nga signal, so na-clip siya na to those values. Field 5, no? Yan lang. Na-clip away, clip away. And instead nga 10 volts, 10 volts, it's now 3 volts, 5 volts. Or negative 5 volts rather. Final answer. So yan na lang ka simple. Basta na lang tong slides available, no? Conveniently available. Again, it's just a matter of locating the proper circuit. Right? So that's question number 2. Question number 3. This one. Let V in is equal to 7 volts. Calculate V out and all resistor currents. All diodes are silicon. Okay. So V in daw is 7 volts. Calculate the resistor current. Okay. So let's assign, may mga palan. So ito lang siya assign as R1, R2, R3. Or better yet, hindi man siguro confusing, no? If ato lang na siyang i-assign as R4, R2, R1 in accordance sa ilahang value. So this is R4 or 4K resistor. So R2, 2K resistor, R1, 1K resistor. So let this current be I4, this current be I2, this current as I1. So muna ito pangitaon, no? Calculate V out, of course V out, and all resistor currents. So yan na lang. So dala kayo isobang BO. KVL lang ta. Di ba? KVL to sa outer na. Outer nga loop. So KVL ta diya. V in minus 0.7 minus V out. 7 volts minus 0.7 minus VO equal to 0. Therefore, VO is equal to 6.3 volts. Okay, wala tong VO. Next. So if VO is 6.3, ergo, V1 is also 6.3. V1 is also 6.3 volts. Pwede na ito kuhaan si V4, no? Voltage sa 4 ohms resistor. KVL ta dire. KVL ta direction. So 7 minus V4, voltage sa R4, minus 0.7, no? Diode 1. Therefore, V4 is equal to 6.3 gapon, no? So actually, makuha na nato ang kuan, no? Mga current I1 ug I4. Nakuha na nato daan, no? I1 is V1 over R1, 6.3 volts over 1K. I1 is equal to 6.3 milliamperes. Of course. Si I4 po, makuha na to. I4 is equal to V4 over R4. V4 is 6.3 also, divided by 4K. Therefore, I4 is 1.575 years. Almost done. Isa na lang. Si R2, current I2. Check na ako. I think ko lang sa ni. Then say next. Pwede ta mag KVL gikan sa source. Siya mas nga sa mag KVL, no? So pwede ta mag KVL here. Sige, ikan lang sa source. Ikan sa source gyapon. Ano, padlong kang I2. Yan lang. Lahuso na to. Labihan to ng resistor. Okay, bali. 7 minus V1, ano na, V4 minus V2 minus V1 equal to 0. V1 is 6.3. So 7 minus V4 is 6.3 minus V2 is unknown minus V1 is 6.3 equal to 0. Yeah. Okay. 7 minus 6.3 minus 6.3, sorry. 7 minus 6.3 minus 6.3 minus x. Yeah. Okay. So V2, ang katingala sa answer mo gawas is negative 5.6 volts. Correct na siya. Meaning, interpretation, meaning ana, ang voltage drop across resistor R2 is unlike kay R4 and R1 na plus minus, kay R2 is minus plus. So, yan lang, no? So, alam mo ka, tingala anong utong mo gawas na answer. Negative siya. Just a matter of convention. So if that's V2 in that direction, you can solve for I2. I2 is V2 over R2 5.6 over 2K. It's 2.8 milliamperes. Ito butang negative, no? Denoting opposite yapon yung direction compared sa itong assumption na panaog ang current. So, pasaka na siya. So I think that's the final answer na. Wala man pang na, no? VO and all diode, all resistor currents. So lang ipangutan ng diode currents. So if ipangutan na ng diode currents, KCL na eh. KCL, pang minus lang ang mga diodes na given, ang mga currents na given. Okay, so this is final answer. Okay. Next, last number. Question number 4. Given that the Zener diode voltage for the following regulator circuit is 4.2 volts, solve for IZ current across the Zener diode when RL is 20 ohms and RL is 30 ohms. So RL is 20 ohms and 30 ohms. Okay, kaya mo siguro. Sa Indonesia, no? Voltage divider formula. VL VS RL over RS plus RL. Check na natin later kung mas dako or mas gamay ba siya compared sa VZ na 4.2. So given 8 volts. So VL is equal to 8 volts. RL is first 20 ohms. 20 over 20 plus 22. Enough. Now it's 3.81. 3.81 volts. So because VL is less than VZ, IZ is automatically equal to 0. Only example sa lecture. Because VL is less than VZ, IZ is automatically 0. For B, same formula. BL, ito na lang ako para naman formula. No? So BL 8, but this time 30 na itong load. 30 over 30 plus 22. .62 volts. Now this time, because VL is greater than DC, VL is not anymore 4.62, but na-regulate siya to only 4.2 volts. Okay, so 4.2 volts na ang voltage across the load. So because VL is only 4.2, solve for individual currents. IL of IS. IL is 4.2 over 30. 30 mo itong kan, diba? Load. L is equal to 0.14 or 140. 40 milliamperes. IS, how much is VS or V so source? So 8 minus 4.2. No? 8 minus 4.2 over 22 given 1.72.73. 172.73 years. Meaning we could get IZ by using the KCL equation for this node. KCL to get IZ. IS is equal to IZ plus IL, or 172.73 equal to IZ plus 140. So 172.73 minus 140 actually. $32.73. 32.73. Maybe for tag decimal places, okay na siya. As long as kaniang process of obtain sa final answer. Okay. That's it. So those were the solution and answers to the questions posed in our midterm examination. So for those nga tanaw ani nga video karon and nakaabot mo ani nga point, I'm going to give a sort of extra stuff. So I have here a question, a bonus question. To those who maka-answer, of course, I might give, to those who maka-answer correctly, I'll give an additional 15% sa inyong midterm exam score. Okay. To those who mag-answer ani correctly. So ako ni siyang gihatag as special item, no? Or item siya sa special exam sa katong nag-take og special nga midterm exam. So I'm also giving it to you right now. So if take mo screenshot, no, or i-draw ninyo ang kaning given, please do so and answer it. No? So maka-answer correctly, I'll give an additional score of 15% sa midterm exam ninyo. So asan yun ipasa? I'm going to provide a link to the description aning video sa YouTube. No? Sa YouTube na i-upload most definitely. So under sa description na dito yung link, dito niyo ipasa ang answer sa A and answer sa B. So mga siya more challenging na question number 2 kanina. So the same nga pang process. Again, it's just a matter of locating the circuit sa atong summary table. Okay? Yeah. So ito lang. Okay? So thank you for tuning in. If you've reached this far, if you'd like, you could answer the bonus question. If dili, no, wala matter, no? Like kaso, no pressure. If you think nga challenging na nga mga questions, okay lang, wala problema. But to those who would answer this one correctly, I'm going to give an additional of 15% sa inyong midterm score. Pasa lang ninyo sa link nasa description. Okay? So that's it, and good morning.